Hey guys, hope everyone's day is going well. Right here, I've got a ton and a ton of strings. Now, these are not just any strings. These are Sailboat strings. So if you guys don't know, Nathan Joseph, he's first of all a super awesome player, really talented. He's on Team SF. He has his own string company and he's a super cool dude. So he sent those strings on over my way and he wants me to test a couple of them out on video for you guys. So I got a bunch of different strings right there and I am super excited to be testing all of these guys out. Let's see, what do I need? I need a yo-yo. I'm going to be using the SS statement for testing out each one of the strings. I feel like its response system and kind of gap width are pretty neutral, so I can get a good idea of how these strings are. And in addition, I got a bunch of notes from Nathan on my phone over here that I'm going to kind of read off before I try each one of the strings, because each string is different, it has a different purpose, it has a different feature, so I'm going to talk to you guys about that all in this video. So without further ado, let's try out some of these strings. Alright, so first up with the orange sticker, we've got the racing class. Now according to Nathan, the goal of this string is to provide something that was performing like polyester, so to cater the taste of those who are fans of kitty, sochi, or other bulk polyester strings. So without further ado, let's try out this string. Alright, so first things first, I'm really liking the general feel of the string, like the texture of it in my hands. So far I haven't really had any issues with snagging or anything like that, which is always a good sign. The string is also pretty whippy. The slack itself flies around pretty quick, which is super interesting. I think this string feels definitely a little bit thicker than like kitty normal. It just feels like a little bit more, just a little bit thicker. But honestly, really liking the feel of this. I absolutely messed up that trick right there. Binds feel really nice with this. Very tight binds. So I had a little bit of snagging in the beginning, but now as I'm playing with this more and more, and it's kind of like breaking in almost, it's coming to be like a point where I really like it. And also it's worth mentioning that he sent me a couple other strings that, like a couple other colors of this string, and those look super nice. So really cool. They got a color for everyone basically. Yeah, in general, this string feels really nice. It's definitely like, it feels more whippy and kind of like a little bit faster than kitty string, which I actually like. I wish kitty string had a little bit more whip to it. And so I'm liking that a lot. Yeah, definitely more whip to it. And it definitely feels a little bit thicker than kitty string. Binds are feeling a little bit tighter than I normally would have with kitty string. But now that I've kind of like broken these strings in, obviously they aren't like fully broken in because that would take quite a bit more playing. But even though that they're broken in a little bit more than they were in the beginning, I'm really liking the feel of them. Like it seems like they really just, they're not snagging too much with my yo-yo. Like they make binds really tight, but it's not to the point of snagging. So in general, I'm really liking the feel of them. Like they also feel really nice and soft in my hands, just in general, like very soft strings, which is always awesome. Alright, so overall, I would say the racing class is really nice. I mean, in general, in the main differences that I see and kind of like the main features I point out, holds its tension very nicely. That's what I noticed immediately as well. It definitely feels a little bit softer than kitty string and a little bit thicker than kitty string. However, as I break in the string a little bit more, it feels like it's becoming less and less snaggy, and it's really kind of getting to that sweet spot that we all know and love. So yeah, definitely really liking this string right here. Alright, so I've been told that this stuff here with the green sticker is the Hallyard V3. It's a formula that Nathan's been working on for a while, and it's essentially Nathan's take on the ideal polyester and nylon blend. So it's got a little bit more nylon than racing class, which makes it a little bit more slicky, with more whip and a little bit more bounce. So we are going to size the string up, put it on the yo-yo, and see how it plays. Alright, so now that the string has been sized up, let's give it a throw. Oh yeah. Okay, so definitely more whippy than the racing class, which I just tried. Yeah, you can really kind of feel just like how fast that string is moving. For sure, it's like kind of a major difference that I'm noticing. So I think, yeah, putting that little bit of nylon in there gives the string a much more kind of like, just kind of fast, whippy feel to it, which is really nice. Oh yeah. And it also does feel a little bit, yeah, it's something like more springy and almost like more stretchy. Just a little bit. In general, in comparison to the racing class, which we just talked about, this string feels a little bit thinner almost. I don't know, in the gap it just feels a little bit thinner, which isn't like a bad thing or anything. It's just, in regards to thickness, I feel like this string is slightly thinner than the racing class, which I just tried. And it is a little bit more like slicky. It almost feels like, I don't know, the string just feels a little bit more slippery than the previous string. So like, even just with like rolling the yo side to side like this, it feels a lot like smoother, like feels a lot faster and sleeker. And then just having this in my hand, it also feels a little bit more slippy and a little bit more just like smooth. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but I think just like with that nylon poly blend, it just makes for a yo that just, it makes for some string that feels a little bit more slippery. String is holding its tension quite nice. I feel like binds are a little bit looser with this string, just by a little bit. Just in comparison to the racing class, which we just were trying. I think that just has to do with the thickness of the string and the material that it's made of. But yeah, okay. In conclusion, this string feels really, really nice. It's definitely more kind of like slippy and slidey, a little bit more slippery. It whips a lot faster than the previous string we just tried, the racing class. It also feels a little bit thinner than the racing class, just in general, which means I've had a little bit like less snagging, but the binds aren't like just as tight as the racing class, maybe just a little bit less. But in general, really enjoying the feel of the string. Very, very smooth and just kind of like sleek. So definitely really like this stuff. All right, so Alright, so next up, the pink sticker string we have right here, the kind of blue and the pink. These are some pure nylon prototypes called Schooner. I think that's how you say it, but basically they are entirely nylon string. Now, Nathan has a ton of information on these strings right here, which I'm gonna put on the screen right there. You can pause the video right now if you want to learn a little bit more about them. Essentially, he's just describing the process of making these strings and how nylon isn't the easiest material to work with. So Nathan is still working on these strings, but this is kind of like a prototype. So I think I'll try them out. They are 100% nylon, and I'm not sure if I actually ever tried out a 100% nylon string. So I'm very, very interested to see how these feel and play, how whippy they are, and how they hold their tension. All right, cool. Let's try them out. Wow. Okay. This is a very interesting feeling string. I don't think I've ever played with 100% nylon before, but it feels super interesting for sure. It whips fast. That's the first thing I'm noticing. Oh yeah, okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Maybe it might be too quiet, but you can just hear how fast this string is whipping. That is really, really cool. Okay, this string feels a lot thinner than the other two strings that I've already tried. So the racing class and the other one. Essentially, it just, since it is that 100% nylon, it kind of makes sense. But the string is definitely kind of like more thin, and that's just because of the change in material. But this is a fast whipping string. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Very, very cool. I never played with a string that's like this, and it's so enjoyable for me to just kind of mess around with it, because like it's, I don't know, it's material that you don't always see in strings. And I think it's really cool that Nathan's been working on all this stuff together. Really, really impressive stuff here. Yeah, very, very cool. This is a very kind of slicky, slippy kind of feeling in the string. It's very smooth. You don't really get like rope burn that easily with this string. It feels very, very smooth. And you can also just like see with the yo-yo like moving back and forth, it feels very smooth. No grabbing whatsoever, which is a really awesome quality. The slack moves quick. That's something I've noticed. Like, this string is so whippy that the slack itself is moving really, really quickly. So that's a super interesting fact for sure. Yeah, oh my gosh, feels really fast. That is super, super cool. I've never like messed around with a string that whips like this fast, but I think when you have this like kind of nylon string, you can have this string that whips just so fast just because of the material. But this is super, super interesting. I've never messed around with this kind of material, but it's definitely super fun to play with, and I think it's a really, really cool design how you can use this different material to get a kind of different feeling in your yo-yoing. I really appreciate this like kind of innovative work that Nathan's been doing, because this is a super interesting feeling. I think you guys are definitely gonna have to try some of these strings out, because this is an experience I want everyone to have. Playing with a string that's this whippy and this cool feeling, yeah. You guys are definitely gonna want to be looking forward to the production model of these strings, because I think you are really gonna enjoy it. Alright, and then finally we have one last type of string left, and this is the Hallyard V3. And now I have two types of strings, type 1 and type 2. I believe that is normal and fat, so I'm definitely going to try both of these guys out. First we're going to try, let's try the fat actually. I want to try this one out. And I'm just going to kind of figure out whether I like the V3, which I tried a little bit ago, or this V2 right here. So let's just see kind of what the differences are and what I think about these strings. Alright, so far I think I like the V3 actually better than the V2. It's just kind of like minor little changes here and there, little differences that I'm feeling that I just kind of, yeah, I think I prefer the V3 over the V2 thick. Now let's try out the V2 Type 1, which I think is normal, not 100% sure. Let's try Type 1 of V2. Alright, cool. Let's give these guys a shot and that will be our final string. Alright, so in general, I think I do prefer the V3 over both the V2 normal and V2 thick. In general, they are really like kind of small differences, but it's just something about the V3 just feels more complete and finished. So I like them both, but I think I have to choose the V3 over these guys. Alright, so that's about it for my kind of first impressions and review of Sailboat strings, a bunch of their different strings. Huge shout out to Nathan Joseph for sending me all these strings and letting me try them out. Really appreciate that. I'm gonna have like basically all the links and every like bit of contact info you need down below in the description, so be sure to check them out. I think some of these nylon strings you guys are definitely gonna wanna look into once they release, so stay tuned for that and be sure to check the website pretty regularly. And as usual, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, and also if you guys are new here and haven't seen my videos before, hit that subscribe button. I post videos about every single day. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.